Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani are accused of plotting to sell presidential pardons as Trump's time in the Oval Office was winding down for the very affordable price, quite frankly, in context, of $2 million apiece, a former staffer says in a lawsuit. We've already discussed the outrageous sexual assault allegations that are part of this lawsuit from former Giuliani staffer Noelle Dunphy earlier in the show. I now want to focus in on the presidential pardon part. There's a Business Insider article that summarizes this quite well. On Monday, Rudy Giuliani was hit with a bombshell rape civil lawsuit filed by a former staffer. The staffer alleged in the lawsuit that Giuliani asked if she knew anyone who wanted to buy a presidential pardon. The suit says Giuliani said he was selling them for $2 million, splitting the profit with Donald Trump. Now, where do you even start with this? We have said many times over the last months, an allegation is made against Donald Trump and it's written off as obviously not believable. And then another allegation is made that is very similar, and another one, and there are records, and lordy, there are tapes, or whatever the case may be. There are already pre-existing allegations that there were all sorts of different ways that potential pardons were being shopped and representatives were bringing them to Trump. And there were rumors of what about some kind of financial aspect to this. And now there's a lawsuit which says, under penalty of perjury, that there was a plan between Giuliani and Trump to sell pardons for $2 million apiece and to split the money. Is this proof that that was taking place? No. Is this proof that they did it and sold any pardons? It is not proof. But it is, again, corroboration of a pattern that has been alleged from sources who have no interaction with each other and don't know each other. Now, one of the most important questions to ask here, and it's a fair question, and it's a question that we should ask, is it explicitly illegal for the president of the United States to sell pardons? The reason we have to ask this question is one of the things we learned during the Trump presidency is that just because there are things that Trump did or is accused of doing that no former president tried to do, that is not a guarantee that the thing Trump tried to do is actually against the law. And to some degree, one of the things that Donald Trump exposed through his presidency is that the checks and balances and separations of powers that the founders of the Constitution put in place never expected or assumed that there would be someone in power like Trump who might try to circumvent them. But let's get to the question. Is it explicitly illegal for a president to sell pardons? My research is that it is not explicitly illegal. There is not an explicit provision that says a president can't sell pardons or can't receive benefits in exchange for pardons. Benefits could be all sorts of different things. However, and this is where so many of these issues get complicated, there are legal experts that have said, even without an explicit provision saying you can't sell a pardon as president, you could indeed, as a president selling pardons, be violating other federal laws. Bribery. Just because you're the president and you're not explicitly barred from selling pardons doesn't mean you couldn't be charged with bribery in accepting money for a pardon. Fraud. Obstruction of justice. Obstruction of justice is an interesting one. Imagine that the president sells a pardon to someone who's under investigation or under prosecution by the Justice Department. By pardoning them, potentially preemptively, you are effectively interfering with the administration of justice because you're saying whatever the facts point to, whatever the Justice Department thinks they have based on the facts and the evidence, I'm issuing a preemptive pardon. You're interfering with the administration of justice, and thus it could be an abuse of power or obstruction of justice. That all being said, those are not explicit provisions that make it illegal for the president of the United States to sell a pardon. And we learned this time and time again with Trump. We don't actually have strong enough checks and balances. Many of us might have assumed for a long time, no one like Trump will ever come to power, so we don't need to worry about some of these checks and balances that aren't strong enough. Well, we very quickly learned that we do need to worry about it. We will see where this goes. Stunning blockbuster stuff. If you deal with anxiety or depression, You may have tried meditation, exercise, diet changes, therapy, all of which are important things to try. There is also a new treatment that we've been talking about on the program for years, which for many people has been a game changer, and that is ketamine therapy. The research around ketamine therapy for anxiety and depression looks very promising, which is why I'm thrilled about our new sponsor, MindBloom. MindBloom is the leader in at-home ketamine therapy, having safely helped thousands of people with anxiety and depression. It's delivered to your door. It's done from the comfort of your home. And unlike traditional talk therapy, ketamine works quickly and doesn't have the unpleasant side effects of traditional antidepressants. In a study of over 1,200 MindBloom clients, 89% reported improvements in their anxiety and depression after just 2 sessions. Read about the evidence for ketamine therapy. We've talked about it on the show. It's pretty remarkable stuff. MindBloom is offering my audience $100 off your first 6-session program. Go to mindbloom.com/Pacman. Use the code Pacman. The link is in the description.